It's the first day of the first week of a new year. This is January 5th, Monday, and today life gets back into rhythm. I love the holidays. We just enjoy the holidays. As a matter of fact, our holiday didn't end until yesterday when we finally had Christmas with my family and kids and grandkids and all that. It was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. But today we come to this first day, and so the rest of the month we're going to be centering in on the value of the Word for our life. God's Word. It's not just a historical book of epic proportions. It's a life book of daily wisdom. And so I want you to stay with me this month because I want to invest in your life the ideas of life. You may be a follower of Jesus. You may not be a follower of Jesus. You may be a church person. You may not be a church person. None of that matters. What matters is that you consider Jesus in your daily life and just say, should I be a part of Jesus and should Jesus be a part of me? Do I establish a camaraderie, a cooperative relationship, a partnership, and a life given to interaction with Jesus? This is really what it's all about. You know, all through our land, there's a lot of people who are called Christians, but there's not many people who would call themselves disciples. In other words, disciplined followers of the way of Jesus. People who do and say the things that Jesus did and say. Who see and love the way that Jesus saw and loved. That's a very small percentage. But you know, over 250 times in the New Testament, we see the word disciple. And only 3 times do we see the word Christian. And 2 of those times are by non-Christians, calling people Christians. And only 1 time do you see an apostle, which is Peter, use a term that was translated into English as a Christian. So I'm not trying to get you to be a Christian in any way, shape, form, or fashion. What I'm trying to get you to do is be Christ-like and be a disciple, a disciplined follower, to know Him, to know His ways, and to live in His ways. So we start today with an understanding of the power of the Word in our life. And we're going to start in Psalm 1. We're going to do Psalm 119 the rest of the month. But we're starting in Psalm 1 today because I want you to see how this first hymn, this inaugural hymn of the Jewish hymn book, starts with planting an idea in our minds. I'm just going to read it to you if you don't mind. It says, "Blessed is the person, the man, the human being who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord," or the word of the Lord, the way of the Lord is how we can interpret that. It doesn't mean a law in the sense of a legal term. It means a law in the sense of an undisputed reality, that this is the way things are. And what God says is the way things are. He's the creator of life, of the universe, of everything, of me and you and us. He is the creator. And so we are blessed when we stand in the light of the law of the Lord and we meditate in that word, His ways, day and night. Listen to what happens to that person. And I want you to have a blessed year. I want you to have a blessed life. But He says to the person who will meditate in what God says, who will meditate, chew on the thoughts and the wisdom of God, that person shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. In other words, they'll never lack for a resource for living life, that will bring forth fruit in its season, that will have things that come out of their life that is a blessing to others. Fruit never blesses the tree that it comes from. Fruit always blesses the people who pick off the tree that it's come from. It says, whose leaf shall not wither. In other words, we'll have a covering for our life. We have our identity and we have purpose, and whatever we do shall prosper. I love that. It means to move ahead and prosper in life. It says, but the people who don't pay attention to God, they're not so. As a matter of fact, their life is just fleeting. It says they're like a chaff that the wind drives away. In other words, they don't have any staying power. They don't stand when it comes to the decrees of God. They have no standing. They fail when it comes to standing before God. They don't sit in the congregation of those who seek God. They don't want to sit in that place. But the Lord knows the way of the righteous, those who seek Him. But the way of the ungodly, it shall perish, it shall go away. So this month, I really want us to start the year. I want you to start the year. I want me to start the year in a very, very clear understanding that I am a seeker of the way and I am a follower of the word. I want my life to prosper and be in health, even as my soul prospers. I want to make sure that I always have something to give somebody else. And I want to make sure I still have an identity and a covering. I know who I am and I know what I'm here for. So stick with me this month. We are making the shift for 26. Stick with me in Shift 26. We're going to go far in only 31 days. God bless you.